So if you're not quite sure how many steps or phases are in a design project, you have no clue how many steps or phases you need to include in your design proposal to capture your design fee, I'm gonna share what we do in our business right now. Keep in mind, every designer does this a little bit differently. Some designers have way more steps, some of them have less. I've just found that if you do too many, if you make it too complicated, clients just, they already don't understand how we do what we do and make it all work and look beautiful. So the more simple I can keep it, the better. This has come down to basically a 10-step process for us. Of course, there are sub-processes and then sub-processes under sub-processes. However, when I'm presenting a design proposal to a client, like I said, keep it simple. There are 10 steps that I include in my proposal, and I'm gonna go through them with you right now. Starting with number 1, I call it project setup. I've got my computer right behind my screen here so I can keep on task as I'm talking to you. Step number 1 is the project setup. This is where we finalize the project intake and the overall final scope with the client. We go into pretty in-depth client aesthetic meetings. We talk about the style, the goals, the visions. This is where we'll also do some of our initial site visits to see the space if it exists, if it's not a new build, to meet the client, yada, yada, yada. Step 1 is also where we talk about our tentative timelines and our deliverables. So in face-to-face meetings with clients, I'll go into this in more detail with them, but in this document, we just call it tentative timelines. Tentative timelines, and that's really hard to say. Tentative timelines and deliverables. Step 2 is about the project budget. Now, depending where you're at in your career, you may not know how much something's gonna cost. You might not have the ability to put together a project budget on your own. That's totally fine, no worries. If you have a contractor that will be involved or there's already a builder, they've already had those discussions with the client about project scope and budget. So step 2 would be the time that you either pull together some numbers yourself to be able to walk the client through those, or you have a group meeting with the builder or the contractor to talk about the budget that they've already come up with, a rough budget anyways, for the client and for this project. So step 2 is project budget. If I'm putting together a project budget, this would include things like the soft costs for fixtures, cabinetry, finishes, window coverings, painting, labor, demo. If it's not a huge scope, if it's huge, I'm not gonna do that for someone, but if it's a small enough project and I can manage it, I'll just throw together the costs myself. Okay, step 3 is CAD and 3D design drawings. This is where we do the CAD and the 3D drawings. So this is where we create all the floor plans, the renderings, elevations, and plan notes for the cabinet maker and the contractor. I will list out in this section of my proposal every area that includes CAD or 3D so that it's there in writing and it's just all very concise for the clients to understand how much time that's going to take us when we get to the numbers portion of our proposal. If you need to coordinate with any third party at this point to come up with drawings, like say a closet maker. If there's something that's, that's just beyond your scope and you're having someone else, you're outsourcing that, I include that in part 3. Step 4 is materials, finishes, selections. So this is where I say we select materials and fixtures for all of the relevant spaces, and then what I'll do is itemize what spaces are included. So if it's kitchen, dining room, living room, bathroom, master bedroom, if it's the whole house, I will itemize each room so that the client can begin to see again how robust the scope of the project really is. Step 5 is furnishings and finishing touches. So this is where I say that we source all, and then in brackets, I've got in my proposal template, you have to itemize every single piece. And now you can't itemize every single piece, but you can literally itemize what rooms you're sourcing pieces for. So you might say source all furnishings and finishing touches for living room, dining room, kitchen, master bedroom, playroom, theater room, etc. Step 6 involves design presentations. And again, designers will organize this and do this differently. We have a series of several presentations. It's never just one massive presentation where the client comes in, we show everything, they sign off, and then we continue forward. In our experience, I don't like that process. I like bringing them on earlier in the whole design phase to have sort of a touch base meeting so we can find out if we're, speaking the same language, they like the direction that we're taking things, and then from there we go on to finalize the design, present that to them, and then we will have probably a series of 1 or 2 meetings past that point after revisions to get final sign off. So step 6 is design presentations. And I say in here, we compile all digital drawings and 3D renderings, all materials, finishes, fixtures, and furnishings for presentations to the clients. This phase includes any necessary revisions and refinements to follow. Step 7 is client sign-off. I make that very clear that that's a step, because to get to sign-off is a bit of a process, but I want to make sure that clients understand that is a very crucial step in the entire process with us, is that we need their sign-off before we can continue on to steps 8, 9, and 10. So step 7 is client sign-off on final design documents and materials, finishes, packages. We compile all final design documents and submit specification documents in a builder binder to the contractor for final pricing. And then I also have a section that says we compile an internal document for furnishings for pricing by designer, because in our business, we supply all of our furnishings to our projects. We don't hand over a document and let the client go and buy it themselves. Step 8 is order and procurement. In this section, I say that we supply all of the new, and then I itemize decorative items, furnishings, window coverings, wall coverings, whatever we're doing. I put that all in here to be supplied by us. We will place, monitor, and track all orders to our receiving warehouse facility in, and then we name the city, until ready for delivery and install at property. That is step 8. Step 9 is project administration and design management. I do not call it project management because that's a slippery slope between the actual profession of project management and liability of project management. So we call it design management. We're literally doing the same things. This also comes in handy too if a client is working with a contractor or builder and they have their project management fees. They get our proposal and they see project management, and oftentimes clients will question, well, why am I being billed twice for the same thing? We know it is not the same thing at all. It's completely different. So I just change out that word project management. I put in design, and it has been smooth sailing ever since. We say includes regular client check-ins or updates throughout the project, on-site visits at key milestones. I will list, there's literally 5 key milestones that I will include in our design management process. So yes, it includes all client and trades correspondence and admin throughout the entire project. Now I know that's like a very broad range and it doesn't get super specific. I will get super specific in our proposal, but when it comes to the 10 steps, I keep it short and concise so that people can read through it and go, oh, okay, got it. And then we're at the final step, step 10, install and close out. So we coordinate all deliveries and installation of furnishings. We attend final deficiencies meetings with the contractor and the client. We do final styling and photography of project once construction is complete. I make sure in this step on this, I think it's page 4 of our proposal, I include the word photography so that the expectation is set from the very beginning that we want to photograph this project when it's done. So often we've not said that, and then we get to the end of a project and the client is either burnt out or burnt some bridges, or it just didn't end on a really fantastic note, because let's face it, that does happen sometimes. And when it comes time to ask for the ability to come and photograph, clients are done. They do not want anyone else in their house. They just want to move on with life. And so I just included in step 10, so that is the expectation that once this is all done, we will come back and we will be photographing our project. And then I also include official closeout of project. Our official closeout is kind of fun. We host a little catered gathering where we bring the contractor and the main trades to the house, and it's on us. We cover the cost for this, and we host a little welcoming party. And I just find that that's a beautiful way to sort of have a nice closure to a really important time in our clients' lives. So we have this official closeout. I'll get into how we do that and what that looks like in a different video, but this is the end of our 10-step process. When I put it together really concise like this and only have 10 steps and not overwhelm a client right off the bat, I just have found that it's so much more palatable. People can understand and grasp in a very simple way how we're going to be involved and what it looks like. And I just find 10 steps is the magic number. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.